Hi guys, I am back with another video today, and this is kind of a new one, something I haven't really done before. So basically, I have this amazing oracle deck. I believe the deck is called Chakra Insight Oracle Deck. And I've had these forever, and they were actually the first cards I've ever had, and I really like them. So basically, I think there's 10 of each center that you could pull, and it gives you insight on what you might be needing to see that you don't want to see, because I think it's more so when you're messing around with cards and anything like that, it's more so you messing around with yourself. Like, your higher self already knows what one you're gonna pull, and you're just gonna happen to pull that one. So I really do believe whatever you pull, you're just supposed to get, and the immediate thought you get from it is just what it's supposed to be, and that's actually can be super helpful. So these have been extremely helpful for me. Obviously, we don't want to rely on anything, but these have helped a lot when I need a little extra help. So today, if you can't guess which color we're going to go over, we're gonna go over orange. And this is mainly because this center, I prefer to call them energy centers, but this center is definitely the toughest one for me, and I'm thinking maybe it is for you guys too. It's like the creative and like sexual energy center, and that can mean a lot of different things, and it can be a little bit confusing. And I think a lot of people in our society today kind of have this center thrown off. So I thought I would go through the cards and just like talk about it a little bit. And I think I'm gonna make a series on this. So anyways, enough blabbing. I will start with the first one. So obviously you can pull, literally, if they don't want to be specific, you can literally just pull the sacral card and really look at yourself. Like, obviously if you pull this one, you'll probably know what section of that it's going to be talking about, but you can always ask for clarification. So the first actual one is going to be relationships, which it says on the top: intimacy, freedom, acceptance, and trust. So a lot of people think that your first energy center, your root, has to do with like sexual and like love and stuff like that, but it's really not. The first center is grounded in security. So like whatever security means to you, and safety, like, do I have food, do I have water, do I feel safe, do I have a good environment? Like, it's all the physical things. I feel like this second center is like the first one where it kind of gets into the internal, but the root is actually more so about external and physical things. I know it can be a little tricky for people because I get confused myself sometimes. So relationship, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. This center can be such a difficult center for those who have had hard relationships in their life, whether it be sexual or not. It could be literally a parent figure or a sibling. And this is a center we really have to take the time to look at, because a lot of emotions can be stored in this one, and that's what I've learned over the years. It's a very, very emotional center. I know all of them are, but this one especially kind of almost in a way holds your inner child's emotions and your openness to even begin to even think about sexuality or creativity and anything beyond in that way. So it's like the first step to really opening up to yourself and then therefore others. So relationship is a good first one. And then also it comes with a book that you can read a little bit more into it. Next one. I always pull this one. Money. And it says on the bottom: finances, power, generosity, and abundance. We always, I always say this to myself: by wanting something, you're telling the universe or God or whatever you want to call it, I don't have. When you want something, you're literally saying, I don't have it, I want it, instead of embodying that vibration of abundance in whatever form that comes. And I think money ties a lot into kind of our creative and sexual center, because it really symbolizes power for us and like control in a way. And I think if you pull this card, it's really just asking you to like check in with yourself, to make sure that you're not putting your worth and your value into how much money you're making, or like spending too much time thinking about money. Or when you pull this card, you could also be seeing it as, hey, you're doing good, you're working on your relationship with money, and it's healing, you're healing it. So it's more so the relationship with money that this card is talking about, and how much energy you're giving it. It's definitely something I've had to keep in check a lot in my life, so this card has helped me a lot. Next one, desires. That's what it looks like. I love the pictures on these. And it says goals, passion, craving, fulfillment. When I think about this one, and when I've pulled it, I think it's another one to help keep you in check, to make sure that your desires are pure. Because desire can be a weird word, because when I think of desire, my mind kind of goes to egoic part of my mind, which it's not always the case. But again, the word desire is kind of meaning I don't have, or like you're putting so much energy into desiring something to come into your life that you want so bad. And I've done this many times in my life, and I'm still working on it. But I think it's just asking you to take a more whole approach to these desires, which can probably be seen more as passions and excitements that you have, to kind of like work that into your life now as if you already have them. Like, ask yourself, like, if I were to have this right now, what would I be like? And try to embody that vibration of that, to teach you that it doesn't have to be so separate. Like, my desires are over here, I'm here. Like, that's such a separate mentality. We have to believe that wherever these desires are in the world, we're connected to them in some way, and by embodying that, we can actually bring them closer to us and have them come to us. It's just, this center is so deep, and I want to hear what you guys have to think about it as well in the comments, because I need help on this one as well. Okay, pleasure. Enjoyment, beauty, sensuality, indulgence. The balance of pleasure. Like, obviously we shouldn't take life too seriously, and we should have fun, and we should do stuff that maybe isn't the best for us here and there, and indulge and just truly enjoy in the beauty of the weird things that life has to offer. But at the same time, we can't stay in this sense of pleasure, because life can't always be pleasure. And I think a lot of us are wounded in this area by wanting that constant feeling of like everything's perfect, everything's fine. But if everything was truly perfect and fine all of the time, nothing would happen. Like, nothing would grow, no one would learn new things. Like, every time I've learned something, it's been when shit has gone downhill. So I think this card is just reminding you, yes, enjoy life and enjoy what Earth has to offer, but keep it in check and make sure you're not overemphasizing pleasure as in the end all be all, because that can get us, I feel like that can give us a lack mindset whenever we're not being pleased by these things. So I think the idea is take everything with a grain of salt. Take everything, don't emphasize the good too much, and don't emphasize the bad too much. We want to try to stay in the middle. Emotions, the center of emotions. It says at the bottom, feelings, expression, moods, balance. I like the pictures. because it's like all in one. It's, whenever I pull this one, it's telling me, I feel like my inner child in a way is telling me like, hey, check in with yourself. Like you're holding in all these emotions that you haven't let out, and it's gonna come out. Because when we hold in stuff, it only builds, it doesn't actually go anywhere. So it's a good card to remind you to express yourself, like be honest with yourself, feel your emotions, and find the balance between feeling the emotions but also observing them. Because you don't want to get too much into the other. Because if you observe too much, you're not going to be feeling anything. But if you feel everything, you're not going to be observing and seeing it for what it is. But if we find the balance point, we can actually work through these emotions and not have them stay in our body. I think this is the last one, but let me check the deck. Sexuality, you knew it was coming. Openness, sharing, beauty, honor. This is one I definitely have been working on for a year or two now. Just because, you know, part of us doesn't want to be vulnerable in that way, even with our partner or someone we might want to be our partner. But it's all about like honoring yourself as well as your partner enough to feel open enough to express yourself as a sexual being. Because if you don't, you're kind of shutting an aspect of you down, and sexuality ties in a lot to creativity. It's that same energy of just like, oh my gosh, I could create anything right now, you know? It's that same energy. And I think it reminds you of that, to focus in on that part of yourself. Because if you're cut off from your sexual self, you're probably cut off from your creative self. And that's something that will probably hurt a little bit. So it's just reminding you to like look at it and to, I don't know, be okay with being sexual. Like I've been weird about that before, just like being honest with myself that I am a sexual being. Like that's how nature works. Like you all gotta do what you gotta do, but we gotta remember that like it's okay to express that part of ourselves. Like it's okay, and we have to, or else it'll be stored somewhere and it'll come out from another avenue that probably really doesn't represent our sexual energy that we think does. I guess that is it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 cards for each center. So this was the orange one. I feel like I made this a little too long, but maybe not. Let me know if you guys want me to go through the rest and talk about them, because I feel like it helps both of us to speak about it and for me to hear your thoughts as well. And I don't know, it's just good to talk about the centers because they are a real thing. When you look at the anatomy of the body, there's major organ systems that are obviously creating a lot of energy, and on the physical level, they're just seen as organs and like all this stuff going on in the body. And then on the energetic level, you can see them kind of as these centers that have a lot happening in them that are not seen in the physical realm, that are more tied in with the mind and the non-physical and emotions, stuff you can't see, but doesn't mean they're not there. So I think it's a beautiful way to kind of combine the two and to become more aware of the physical and the non-physical and how they work together. So yeah, let me know, but I hope you guys like this, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.